Hello and welcome back to the Relegation Zone podcast, where we are at the bottom of the table, scraping the bottom of the barrel. Slightly different episode coming to you today, but as always, I'm Greg. And as always, I'm joined by Alex, who's slightly different today. He joins us from the world of being 30. Alex, how do you feel?
Slightly older. Yeah, we won't get into it too much, but I had an amazing time celebrating. You were there, of course, before you jetted off to Madrid. And then on the Monday, a slight malaise of the high wears off and you're like, oh, okay, I'm 30. Felt like I was a bit slower and creakier at jiu-jitsu, but it's probably in my head.
So I was thinking before this, so you left the roaring 20s. What do they call the 30s?
Oh, it's like dirty 30s or something.
Oh,
something like
really?
that. I don't know.
There he is.
I don't know. Look, we're certainly about to get down and dirty on this podcast. We're getting into the weeds today. You said it was a bit of a different episode. A serious episode?
Unfortunately, a serious one, and we're not in the same room. So basically, I am in Madrid at the moment, and today I recorded some very special content for the podcast, which will come out later this week. Top of the show as well, just to let you know, we are now on Spotify, video and audio, so you can listen to the podcast on the go, which is incredible, really cool. Thank you for the response so far. Go and give that a 5-star rating. It really means a lot to us. But yeah, it's also not lost on us that the moment that England went out of the World Cup, we dropped the World Cup content like a sack of hot shit. This was meant to be the World Cup wrap-up episode, but it's now an emergency Cobra-style virtual episode.
Greg and Alex save football from the grubby hands of Gianni Infantino. Look, they needed a couple of guys.
I can't do it because I've got to keep the mic here. I haven't got my stand anymore. Don't do that on the pod. Anyway, we promise this won't become a theme because it is a little bit COVID coded. But yeah, like we say, Alex's best mate, Gianni, is selling FIFA, essentially. Alex, I want to know your instant reaction when you saw this headline come up. I thought it was a bit of a meme, if I'm honest, but Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was the kind of period of like, oh, I can't believe that it's quite a depressing episode, as in like the media's turned on Gianni again, trying to paint him out to be a villain or something.
You gave him a ring.
Yeah.
Mate, what's going on?
I was like, mate, I'm going to hop on an emergency podcast, and don't worry, I've got your back. For whatever that's worth, I've got your back. Yeah, no, I mean, look, we will in a moment get into, like, basically what is going on, because there might be some listeners who aren't as embedded in football or football media and might want a bit more of a rundown of what's going on. But yeah, like, when we get into it, people will understand why my gut reaction was, it's another, like, Miguel, my colleague, who you met at my birthday.
Great guy.
Great guy. He, unsurprisingly, because this is what he does, he's great with the politics of football, and he summed it up really well. It feels like football is being taken even further away from the people with an actual emotional investment in football. Try and give a sort of financial investment to people who can benefit from it, as I say, like financially. So yeah, what were your feelings?
Really not shocked. It's such a shame that it's in the immediate wake of an amazing World Cup that it had been in the summer. The World Cup final was a little bit dead, of course, but the World Cup in general, some incredible games, incredible football, and then less than, a week and a half, we're talking about, okay, you know that thing that we really love, let's try and sell that to foreign investors and outside sources. So anyway, let's roll back a little bit. Let's explain exactly what is going on here. As best as we can.
Bear with Greg. Like, we are the worst people, probably. As a sports journalist, I shouldn't be saying that, but I've had a really busy week in and outside of work. I've been working on other things, so I've actually had to kind of like make sure I'm clued up on this. But so has Greg. So yeah, bear with us. It's going to be like a really short, serious, factual bit, and then we'll get back to probably taking the piss out of football as we usually do.
Absolutely, yeah. So ChatGPT has said, I have researched that. Okay, so what is happening? So FIFA, aka Gianni Infantino, want to create the FIFA Forward Enterprise, can be known as the FEE. What is this? It's a separate subsidiary that would bundle together. Hilarious to say bundle together, by the way. Just sounds so like I bundle my clothes together when I pack for a holiday, not bundle together multi-billion-pound businesses to sell off to external financiers.
The highest bidder.
Yeah. Bundled together all of FIFA's money-making activities, which is the broadcast rights, sponsorships, ticketing, licensing, event delivery, into one commercially focused company. Gianni Infantino has set a deadline of September 19th for all 211 member federations to approve the proposed private investment plan, as it is, which basically gives each association access to up to 40 million in funding. Now, there's a caveat to this. $10 billion of funding would be available if it's approved, but if not, there's only 2.7 billion. Now, there's a B word that comes to mind when I hear this. I don't know if you agree, Alex.
Bald. Talk about Gianni. Bald-faced.
Yes.
Bastard.
Bold-faced bribery, actually, is kind of the word I was looking for.
Just satire. We're not actually accusing Gianni Infantino of bribery on the off chance anyone comes after this podcast. It's very unlikely to happen, but for legal reasons. Go on, Greg.
Imagine I have to stay in Madrid if I'm basically not allowed back in on threat of extradition. And the thing is, the Times were the first to report on this, and the scary thing, like we said, off the back of a World Cup that has been hosted in America, the proposal has been backed by a company called Thrive Capital, which is an investment firm founded by Josh Kushner. Now, you might recognise this name because it is the brother of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of, friend of the podcast, President Trump. It's none of it's a good look, Alex, is it?
No, so again, if you listen to and or watch the podcast, you're probably into the sport enough to know that like Gianni has been cozying up to Trump for a few years now. But cozying up is a soft way of saying it. Like, he's a complete and total sycophant, and it's absolutely like sickening watching him do it. I know I joke about actually liking him, but when stuff like this happens, it's really difficult to keep up the bit because it is just like, I can feel myself actually getting a bit angry thinking about it. You know, he did before this was even announced in recent days, he gave a bit of I think he put a letter out on Sunday. I was going to say a speech. He did a speech today, which I'll get to in a second. Like right before we jumped on recording, he did an address. But at the weekend, he put out a letter, and he was like defending FIFA, and as you said earlier, basically defending himself is what that means from all the criticism that he's got on, but like really calling it out in a Trumpian way. Like you know the way he kind of like dramatizes everything, and then like I say in the address he did today, he was sort of saying he literally said, "We simply want to commercialize these tournaments." I'm like, yeah, mate, that's the bad bit. Like yeah, that's what we're fucking complaining about. It's like me saying like I wasn't trying to kill him. I just wanted to shoot him in the chest a few times. Yeah, that's why people are upset. you know, it's so bizarre.
That's the thing, and I don't know. Look, I don't know if it's two bad things, right? It's either he's totally inept, which is scary, or it's just barefaced, arrogant. I've written this script. I know it's commercial. I know that's what you hate, but I'm going to say it because what are you going to do? What is anyone going to do? It only benefits everyone to get these packages of 40 million in funding. This is the other scary thing, right? Whenever we talk about FIFA, I can't name anyone else involved in FIFA. I don't know any other names. I don't know who's backing or like challenging these things. It has become the Infantino show.
R.I.P. Chuck Blazer. For anyone who watched the FIFA documentary.
My God.
The most American name ever.
And the most American looking geezer. Oh my God. He
was a large man. He was a scoundrel. But you're right, mate. It's become all about him. And again, it's not unintentional. Like, he's obviously done this on purpose. But also it touches on something that I'm sure one of us was going to bring up at some point, which is that, as lots of people have pointed out, when Sepp Blatter left FIFA, when his reign sort of ended in complete farce, amid allegations of corruption and whatnot, I knew that he would be replaced by a cretin, but I just thought it would be someone slightly less awful than him. And as a lot of people have said, I think Infantino might be worse. And it goes back to what you said about, is he inept or is he just barefaced? I mean, like, I don't think he's inept in the sense that he's clearly got a plan to try and essentially sell the World Cup. What a mental sentence. I can't believe we're saying that. And it's already underway, and you can see all the steps. Now, it might not go across. He said in his address today, it's a short, like it's like a kind of opportunity. It's not an obligation. But he's clearly got this plan, and the wheels are in motion. So in that sense, he's not inept. But yeah, I don't know. But then at the same time, like maybe inept or like unself-aware or self-unaware, in the sense that I still think he thinks he can rescue his reputation at times. I still think when he says these things, he feels like he might be able to convince people that he's like this hero for football, and he doesn't. And that's where he's not aware, is that he doesn't realise that every time he speaks, he turns people even more against him.
Yeah, totally agree. And this is the thing as well, like, because the voting system in FIFA, it basically means that, unfortunately, spoiler alert, it's more likely that this will pass because it's only majority rule, so it only needs over 50% to get this through. And one of his big things is that, look how successful I've been in my 10 years. Like, we've got in the policy of the 48-team World Cup. And I always look at that and go, is that necessarily, like, was it a better product as a World Cup? That's not like, anyone could have done that. That isn't like a incredible feat.
And no one was asking for it. No one was asking for it.
Whereas things that people are asking for is better refereeing across the board, or an understanding of what VAR is, or better player welfare. But all he's done in the rain is, I know Qatar was organised well before, but we know the mess of the human rights issues in Qatar. Not already talked about that, has he? Apart from sort of saying how much he feels Qatari or gay. So he's an empathetic guy. We know this about him, but he's just with Sepp Blatter. And I never thought the day would come where I'd be sort of saying sentences like this, but here we go. That was like good old-fashioned sort of, what's the word? Like backhand grubby deals, like brown envelopes in hotel rooms. To the point where it was like, he kind of, like you said, it's all allegations, and he's kind of not been proved, but it's all a little bit slimy and backhand and like your mates. This guy's just going on TV and saying, yeah, we are selling bits off because it's commercial gain, and this is what I'm going to stand to make and what you're going to stand to make. And at least with Sepp Blatter, there was some kind of like, at least
there's a charm to it.
There's a charm, man.
It's like, oh mate, I know what you're up to. I can see it.
It's old
Gianni's
school.
just telling us. I can't even catch him. He's just telling us. So, no, I do know what you mean. Also, apologies for the visual. For those watching, my laptop's on my lap. So if I move and it shakes, I'm sorry. I'm not. It's not on the sturdiest surface. Yeah, mate. I do hear you. Like, in all seriousness, we obviously are not like Blatter apologists. Again, something Miguel said is that you need to be careful not to fall into revisionism about who and what Blatter was. He was obviously a scumbag as well. But just different types of scumbags. Just enjoy them, man.
Yeah. He's your kind of like 4-4-2, like short man, big
Bang
man.
on.
Yeah, and then Infantino's got like false nines.
He's a false nine. Oh, yeah.
Right? He's a false nine. I was going to call him something that he definitely isn't. I don't need to bring that allegation in. Like, what, briber? What do we call him? Like, what is the actual phrase?
I'm not sure. What are you just accusing him of bribery?
I think so. Yeah, I'm going hard. No. So, of course,
not the opinions of the Independent. Just to be clear.
Not even my opinions. It's just words coming out of my mouth, if I'm honest.
Good defence, mate. That always holds up in court.
Yeah. I didn't actually mean it, officer. It was just words that formed into a sentence that probably wasn't favourable, officer. Anyway, so yeah, this is the problem. Infantino is a little bit of a one-man guerrilla army, posing as FIFA, but he is in control of the biggest footballing establishment in the world.
And he has Trump on side to some degree, like you said, through Josh. I was about to say Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher's actually involved. No, through Josh Kushner. And look, you talk about him being a bit of a one-man army, but you also touch on how it looks like, because of the voting system, this could get voted through. It's worth saying, in terms of like resistance, who's gone against this so far that we know of. The Relegation Zone podcast, that we're one.
Yep.
Miguel Delaney's too.
Yeah,
friend of the podcast.
Stop right there. That's all it needs.
UEFA are vehemently against this. I will say, I sometimes feel like UEFA try and position themselves as the good guys to FIFA's bad guys. It's obviously not that simple, and I think even in this, it's like it's an opportunity for UEFA, like to position themselves as such. It's an ulterior motive, possibly, but I'm obviously more on their side. Andy Burnham spoke out a little bit about this. Just bear with me. I'm going to just get up what he said. But you know what? So obviously new Prime Minister in the UK. And the reason I bring him up is because it feels like a really easy win for him to stand against this. And it reminds me of the Super League. If people remember the proposed Super League during COVID and how...
And that was UEFA.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, European Super League. And at the time, Boris Johnson hadn't been in power for too long. Again, he had a fair bit of criticism about the handling of COVID. And this was like a kind of easy win for him. He came out and really put his foot down. This cannot be allowed to happen. This isn't what football's about. It's not for the fans. So let me just see. I've got an article here from ESPN. Andy Burnham. Andy Millman from Extras has said...
I've been rewatching Extras, man. It's so good.
So good.
It's so classic.
Yeah, I remember I mentioned the sort of Les Dennis character, as in the Les Dennis character of Les Dennis from Extras in a recent episode. Go back and listen to it if you haven't. So Andy Burnham has said football does not belong to investors. He's a keen Everton supporter. He said, let me say this very directly, football does not belong to investors. It belongs to the people who fill the stands, who stand on the touchline week in, week out, rain or shine. The World Cup is not a product. It's the greatest competition in world sport, and it was never anyone's to sell. Dress up the deal however you like. Once you've sold a piece of it, you have sold out. Good stuff.
Really good stuff. I do just want to have to say, right, I love the romanticism of football belonging to the fans. My one retort to that, and it's an easy line and it's a winner and it gets everyone going, and I do like it and I agree with it. However, when was the last time football truly belonged to the fans? Because we're talking about 6 years ago, the Super League was going to be a thing until fans protested and until I think like the Premier League came out and said this is going to happen if that happens.
Yeah, there were threats, right? And just really quickly on that, there is a possibility that certain European nations boycott this whole plan. So that could be a way in which it falls down. But sorry, similar happened with the Super League. But back to you.
Totally, yeah, and I'm sure there's many more options when you look at Russia getting the bid for 2018, Qatar getting the bid for 2022. Brazil getting the bid for 2014. So many Brazilian fans, people in Brazil were saying, look, we don't need to be spending money on stadiums. The people need money. There's poverty here. There's stadiums in Brazil that have sat empty since the last time they were used in that World Cup. Morocco are going to be a host country for the next World Cup. And there are terrible things going on in Morocco to be able to build these stadiums that they just don't need. The Moroccan people don't want them. There's enough problems going on in Morocco. The Moroccan Football League don't need them and can't fill them each week, can't finance them. When was the last time that there was actually any consultation with fans before one of these decisions were made? These decisions seem to be made, and then if there's enough uproar and enough threat of financial ruin, then people go, okay, maybe this is the sport of the fans. I don't know, is that cynical?
No, it's not cynical. You're right. And again, like it kind of goes back to Gianni. I think he's one of the few people who seems like he will just forge ahead even when the backlash is there. Whereas one or two other people might kind of take a step back and think, okay, it's not worth alienating the fans. I mean, again, even then they wouldn't actually be doing it because of, fan criticism. They'd be doing it because they think that fan criticism signals the opportunity to lose money or miss out on more money, right? So it will always come back to that. It's just Gianni seems like he's going to forge ahead anyway. But yeah, it's a good question, man. And look, like you said, it's a week and a half after the World Cup final. As much as it was a turgid game, that is a moment in isolation where football does belong to fans again, right? Like you have an evening in Spain, you're out in Madrid. I'm sure people are still in various ways celebrating or at least feeling the buzz of that. So yeah, in those moments, football is very... I'm kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, that is when football is inarguably for the fans, but it's different to what you're saying. Like, where's the consultation? Where are the changes being made to the game that fans are consulted on? You made a great point earlier. Well, we want better refereeing. We want X, Y, and Z. These are the things we're asking for. And as you say, when there are nations saying we don't even really want or need a World Cup, we don't need these stadia, it just makes a mockery of the whole thing. And yeah, there's is it 6 hosts for the the World Cup, the 100-year anniversary one, right? So like even that's 6 nations that qualify automatically. It does raise questions about how that came to be, and it also makes you wonder if various nations, governing bodies, have these stakes in the World Cup. Again, I don't know how this is all going to play out, and I don't pretend that football politics and the money behind it is my area of expertise, because it's really not. But is there a world in which, well, we've heard that they can sell off the stakes potentially down the line? Does one acquire more of another stake for a favour, and then the one with more has a higher chance of qualifying for a World Cup or whatnot? I'm not sure exactly how it would go, but these are all things that could happen. Also, Greg, I'm just sorry. This kind of highlights how almost bootleg this episode is. My old laptop's running low on battery, so you talk, and I'm going to move over. I'm going to move to my desk while you talk. I'm sorry, this is so crap. The audio listeners would never know, but if you're watching, I have to address it.
This is going no editing. This is full on. Oh man, that's brilliant. That was a brilliant point, well made. What I will add as well, while you say that, is that we talk about no consultation of the fans. The actual governing bodies and confederations weren't talked to about this at all. UEFA came out with their statement, said this is actual news to us. Their actual quote was that the proposal crosses a line that football governing institutions should never cross. The soul and governance of football are not assets to trade, especially with zero transparency as to who gains financially. None of us are the owners of football. It's not FIFA's to sell. CONCACAF as well, one of the 6 continental confederations, said that they weren't consulted. They had no idea about this. Something that I had to look into, because I think there's a lot of confusion as to what FIFA is versus what UEFA is versus what CONCACAF, CAF, AFC is. So the structure is basically that there's 211 national football associations that are the ones that vote. So to my understanding, that is the English FA, the French Football Federation, German Football Association, etc. And then you have the 6 continental confederations, which are UEFA for Europe, CAF, which is Africa, AFC, which is Asia, CONCACAF, which is North, Central, and the Caribbean, North and Central America, I should say. And then CONMEBOL, which is South America, and then the OFC, which is Oceania. They can't vote, but they do lobby and recommend. But it's the football associations that vote, and I guess, like to your point, have the ultimate say, and they have the most skin in the game, right? Because if Spain are seen, so you say those 6 members that have the next World Cup, Gianni Infantino will have been buttering them up, talking to them for the last decade. Those 6 federations, if they now go against him, what punishment do they get if they're on the wrong side of history? Or it's just one man dictating it all.
And also worth saying, sorry, and just checking in, is my audio all okay now that I've moved?
Yeah, you're all good, dude.
Okay, so
nailed it.
As Miggy put it, this is also like a cushy job for Gianni. After, I think it's 2031 is when he'd have to leave his role at FIFA, right? Then he's set up, because he would be commissioner of FFE, essentially, the body that you mentioned at the start, this FIFA enterprise that would be kind of running the World Cup. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, I've seen Batman. Commissioner Gordon's good, isn't he? Like, he does good for the city. Are we sure Commissioner Gianni can't be good as well? I would say don't base it on a Batman film. And I know I'm the one who made the comparison, but I would just say it's the only time I've ever heard. Just other people were going to think about it. You hear commissioner. How many other commissioners do you know, Greg?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, well made.
Thank you.
I guess that's the real quiz.
That is the real quiz. It's just also, don't get me wrong, I am enjoying talking about this, because it is interesting, and we're kind of figuring it out a bit as we go along, as people can obviously tell. But I am a bit resentful to Gianni that, like, I kind of want to talk about what's going to make a Victorian child's head explode. I kind of want to do like a would you rather, and instead we're here talking about something kind of serious, something actually important. And football. We're actually doing a football podcast, and there's no we can't even disguise it.
No, definitely. There's no Trojan horse this time. It is. Speaking of which, you went to see the Odyssey, didn't you?
I loved that. The whole time the Trojan horse was involved, I was just thinking, like, in a lot of ways, this is like my podcast with Greg, and I think the Trojans would appreciate the podcast for that reason.
Yeah, I'm the Cyclops in the cave. That's how I feel sometimes. Yeah, no, I've not seen the Odyssey yet, but it's on my list. I did go and see Obsession. Wow.
Yeah, you were raving about this, and I feel like I'm in the minority who's not seen it. Although I feel like in America it's taken off a bit more.
Incredible. You know, it's the 6th highest grossing horror film of all time.
That is mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, the guy that directed it, he we'll park the football chat.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, we can all relax a little bit.
So tired.
Do you see, I instantly went back in my chair and put my legs up. I was like instantly relaxed. The guy that directed it is actually, he started off as a YouTuber doing some sketches, Curry Barker. And I watched one of his short films a year or two ago. It's called Milk and Cereal. Highly recommend it. So good. That guy's a genius. Like,
yeah, I've only seen a few of his skits, but I've always found them really funny. And so I need to check out both. I saw someone saying earlier today, like, surely Inde Navarrete. Navarrete. Yeah.
How dare you pronounce her name wrong?
Sorry, mate. Inde. We'll just say Inde. Is like surely going to win the, Best Actress Oscar, which is really interesting to me because famously the Oscars do not appreciate horror. But then is it Amy Madigan? I think I think I'm recalling her name right. She won Best Supporting Actress for Weapons. So yeah, and at the moment it's like who else is there?
Dude, I think like when a horror film is a 10 out of 10 horror film, it's in general an incredible film. I think like horror done well is some of the best writing because there's times where like with Weapons, you saw Weapons, right? Yeah.
Yep.
With Weapons, there's some moments where it's obviously horror and jumpy, but then it's like so funny. It's funnier than a lot of comedies now. Obsession has a few of those moments. I think it's because like you're feeling such emotion that when there's a little laugh, it is like, oh my God, it's almost relief. It's funny.
It's like when you said let's talk about film and let's stop talking about FIFA, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, an escape from the horror film that is Gianni Infantino's plans to sell the World Cup, the 7th highest grossing horror film of all time.
Top for him, his bank account.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Let me just get this right. You're suggesting that he would personally profit from this?
I think
he's doing it for the good of football, Greg.
No, I think
he's
that's in public record.
Football.
I think it was in the Times. Yeah, I think it was in the Times. I'm not. You can't get me on that one, Your Honour. I think it's literally in the Times article that he stands to make stupid amount of money.
Well, if he was the commissioner of FIFA, FFE, whatever it is, he would have a salary. And yeah, it would probably be a pretty significant one. But look, he's just trying to globalise football, like by giving the World Cup to nations that shouldn't be hosting it and plunging them further into financial depression and generally, like, poor human rights sort of well-being. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've said this forever and I will always say it, but like you could give England or the United Kingdom the World Cup tomorrow and we'd be able to nail it based on infrastructure in terms of transport, stadium capacity, weather-wise. It's not, I mean, at the moment it's about 35 degrees, but it is everywhere in Europe. But it's not, you don't need hydration breaks, particularly generally speaking.
Gutting.
Yeah, I know, ridiculous. Global language as well. Relatively safe to get around the UK as well. Like the thing is, but England won't get the chance to host a World Cup because Gianni has a best mate in America. He has, people in Uruguay. That inaugural So the 6 hosts for the next World Cup. I know we're jumping around a bit, but this is so confusing to me. So there's only one inaugural game happening in Uruguay to celebrate the 100 years, and then they're not hosting any other games, right?
I don't believe they're hosting any other games. Like, they might have one or two later on, but I don't think so. I think it's just that one, and then you've got it's Portugal, Spain, Morocco. So that's 4, and then the other 2. I should know this.
I think you're right. I think it's not Argentina and
Paraguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, maybe.
yeah, maybe. There's definitely a couple of South America.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got them all. Yeah, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. And yeah, Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay all have one match each only. Like, again, what is the point? I like the romanticism or faux romanticism of Uruguay hosting the opening game because of the centenary, but again, like, I hate to say that you shouldn't put romanticism above practicality, because that's not really how I feel. But I do want to lean into the romanticism of football, but this is a case where it's just not worth it. It's really not worth it. Again, it's like the Mexico games at this World Cup were amazing, but and especially we love England, Mexico. Great, it's a great game.
We love it. Fantastic game.
But
actually, some say the best. I don't know.
Some actually do say the best, Don. Some
Yeah.
actually do say it's the best. But it's like they half did it. Mexico get like 3-4 games in Mexico for the whole World Cup. Was that actually worth it overall? Canada as well. The travel was already ridiculous, but would it not have just made more sense to do it in the US? Again, you'd lose the romanticism of those Mexico games, but it's just not done with any, like, I'm with you. I've also said it for years. England or the UK would do a great World Cup. We've obviously got the Euros coming up. And there's actually something I want to go back to on something you said about why we won't get the World Cup. I'm going to touch on that in 1 second. But yeah, in the same way that we would do a great one, it's just like, who is this North American World Cup? Who is it for? It was bad for the players with all the travel, bad for the fans, bad for journalists. I know people on all 3 fronts who had awful... I don't know any players, actually. But I know people on the other 2 fronts, who had really awful experiences. And the best experiences they had were just once the games began and they were immersed in it.
Yeah.
But for 1 or 2 of them, it almost wasn't worth the negative side. And just to circle back to what I hinted at there about, we might not, maybe England won't get, or the UK wouldn't get a World Cup. Miguel says... and I'm literally just leaning on him here because I don't know anything about this, but he says he feels like the FA has been cozying up to Gianni in the last year or 2, and that it's with a view to try and get the 2035 Women's World Cup, and maybe a view to try and get a Men's World Cup thereafter. But I know Miguel mentioned the 2035 Women's World Cup. And again, I was just thinking about this, like, look, let's be clear. One of my favourite things about football, when you talk about when was it last for the fans, I've loved seeing women's football grow. I've loved seeing packed stadiums at like these tournaments and things. So I don't mean for what I'm about to say to sound kind of like derogatory, but
here we go.
No, I mean to try and I'm going to try and say it definitely, but like, I do think it's fair to say the Women's World Cup is still not what the Men's World Cup is, right? Like again, it's growing, and I love seeing it grow. And like a lot of people, I've been really enthralled by it. Not just the last 1 or 2, but for about 3 or 4 now. But the idea that the FA allegedly is cozying up to FIFA to try and get the 2035 Women's World Cup, I just like, not that I think anything in football is worth selling your soul over, but if the FA was going all in to try and get a Men's World Cup ASAP, again, I wouldn't agree with it, but I'd kind of understand it. Again, I know this sounds bad. It sounds like I'm dismissing, like, well, the Women's World Cup isn't worth doing that. But I'm just like, you need to be really careful what you're doing in terms of how close you get to Gianni. And if you're really going to do it, if you come away saying, well, look, I can point to the fact that we brought the World Cup back to England for the first time since, it would be the first time since 66, right? That some people would probably forgive you. The Women's World Cup, again, I think it's I'm so here for it. I'm so here for the growth of the women's game, but I'm just surprised that like the FA is almost like risking their reputation over something that is a growing. See, I was about to say like the Women's World Cup is a growing commodity. I don't even want to use the word commodity, but
I know
because
what you mean, though.
that's where Gianni's going with the Men's World Cup. He's like, well, this is a commodity for me. I'm only trying to commodify football, guys.
Yeah,
Come
let
on,
me do it. Yeah,
let me do it. It's not so bad.
Yeah, you hit on something really good there, because you can either look at it and go, okay, actually the women's sport where it is now is very different to where it was in 2016, where it will be in 35, because I coach grassroots girls football as well, so I can already see in 10 years' time the difference. You can look at that and go, okay, that's going to be something really special. Or you can look at it and go, right, who out of the two of you is being the most opportunistic here? Who is it? Gianni going, oh, the women's games, so we can sell that? Or do you know what I mean? You can't help but these characters in football now, you can't help but look at it and go, yeah, but why do you really want it here? Like, what is there something you're trying to sell? Is there like, because that's going to be perfect timing if the women's game keeps doing what it does, and like you say, I hope it does, and I think it will. And it's incredible to be a part of it. But you can't help but think, like you say, Gianni is going to be looking at this and going, oh, I like that. And you just don't want the FA to be the ones going, yeah, like come sit at St George's Park with us, Gianni.
Yeah,
great.
and I think we're guilty, right, in terms of. So we always get a bit frustrated with the international fans who don't understand. It's us saying it's coming home. Like we always defend it and we say, look, this is self-deprecating. It's not arrogant, but I think we need to be careful, like characterizing English football as something inherently good. We don't look at it as something inherently great from the stance of like we believe we're going to win these tournaments. But I do think something we do fall into is the side of like, oh, but the FA, England, like we're kind of the good guys, It's never that simple. It's never that simple. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on in this? Anything else that comes to mind?
It's a really good point. I mean, like, look, there's two sides of that coin as well. Like, we could do a whole episode on the evolution of English football and journalism in English football, because we're only, it feels like there's quite a good relationship between fans and English football now. But you only have to go 20 years back when, David Beckham red card and the attitude of the football team and towards journalism towards the English football team, fans towards it's a very checkered history. And then, I went round the Burnham today, and the first point that they make on the tour is that the three founders of Real Madrid Football Club were inspired by watching football in England, and it just wasn't a thing in Spain in 1902. So they brought it over to Spain, set up Madrid.
We shouldn't have let them get a look at that.
Well, look,
we should have closed the doors.
Yeah.
Close the borders.
So anyway, thanks for joining us. That's closing arguments. No.
Stop a very specific set of boats. That's all I'm saying. Don't take it out of context. Just in that case, it would have been nice to keep the Spanish out.
What is a Spanish boat? What does that look like? Because obviously...
An armada? Well, that's a group of boats. A Spanish group of boats.
Because you've got Portuguese man of war. You've got Italian... Here you go. Types of boats with Greg Hollands. You've got a Viking longboat.
Clip this up for social media. Christ.
The Nordics. Yeah. Then you've got the gondolas in Italy. Canoe, is that us? Did we make the canoe?
I'm not sure. Where did kayaks come from? What's a goblin then?
Kayak doesn't sound... What does that sound like it's from? Don't know.
Kayak I could imagine being from like Canada, or... No, they like appropriated it from somewhere more interesting maybe. I don't know.
This is why we need a producer to be able to kayak origin. Hang on, I am just going to do a quick, because that is going to get me. We'll do a whole history of boats. Okay, it's wow, well done. It's Greenland, North Canada, Alaska, and Siberia.
Oh, I'm happy with that.
Fantastic work.
That feels like a high note to end it on. I say that as well because we've crossed the 40-minute mark, and we've veered into what we do, which is chat nonsense about anything other than football. Which again, look, don't worry, for those of you who like that, it'll be normal service resumes next time we're on the podcast.
Yes, we
But-
have a bumper episode planned. Alex doesn't know about it yet, but we have a bumper record coming up where we have lots of Victorian child head exploding. We have lots of performers of the week. We have lots to come. I think we need to do two. This is proper like breaking the fourth wall, but I think we need to do 2 records in one because we're both quite busy over the next couple of weeks.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be diving into, again, mad that it will come around so quickly, but we'll be previewing the Premier League.
Yeah, man.
Again, in a sort of relaxed, light-hearted way, we'll look at the Premier League season. It's not going to be as heavy as this. Don't worry, unless the City charges drop. The Man City charges drop like the day we plan to record.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blimey. Do you like? I liked that. Sorry, my final thought. I like that the bid for Elliot and Anderson was £114 million. That's definitely so it wasn't. That's rounded down, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I hear you. So it wasn't 115. Well,
Yeah.
similarly, one of my colleagues suggested that Chelsea went for Rodgers for it's 117, right? 16 or 17,
Sure.
just so that they could go higher than City, basically.
That's hilarious. I love it. So petty.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks for putting up with. If you've made it this far, thanks for putting up with this episode.
Why?
If you're watching, yeah. If you're watching, thanks for putting up with my sort of dim lighting and moving around the flat and audio issues. As Greg said, it's not going to be like this too often. So we'll be back together in person recording this weekend. But yeah, thanks for listening. So we can do a football podcast, kind of, just about.
Right. That was difficult. But we got through it.
I need a shower now.
Yeah.
Both because it's warm and because I need to cleanse myself of the pure football chat.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Like I say, Alex, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and now Spotify. Very exciting to have that little one there as well. And we will see you in person in the next one. Catch you all later, Scrappers.